Ugh, this shit again? Hasn't everyone died yet? Come on.
Don't worry.
Can we, like, speedrun this? Come on, Banjo. Let's get Banjo to just be, like, rapid fire, like, pew, 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 pew. Oh, right. I think Goda was about to die, right?
Was he? I don't remember.
No, that was the end of the last one. Forget what the adults expected. At least for us kids, these were supposed to be a fun couple of days where the cousins deepened their friendship. However, when we woke up, there was an unbelievably cruel reality waiting for us. George, Aniki, and Jessica were crying over Shannon-chan and Kanekun-kun's deaths. Right now, everyone who was alive had gathered in the lobby, the first floor of the guest house. And there were 12 people there. Unbelievable, right? They were 18 until yesterday, and in one night, a third of that number had lost their lives. I eventually sobered up from my agitation and, along with my lack of sleep from being woken up so early in the morning, I was beginning to feel a faint sense of unreality. I want to think this is some kind of bad dream. My cheap escapism keeps telling me that over and over. Maria had gone back to sleep on the sofa Rosa was sitting in. Rather than her having nerves of steel, she probably genuinely hadn't had enough sleep.
Rudolph gets the gun this time.
Rudolph gets the gun this time. The adults were holding items from what was apparently grandfather's collection. Short-barrel Winchester rifles.
Oh, multiple guns this time.
Apparently relics from a time he'd been obsessed with westerns, so there were 4 guns altogether.
That's new.
That's new. Those had been split up among the 4 siblings. Uncle Kraus, Aunt Ava, my dad, and Aunt Rosa. Paper boxes filled with bullets lay on the table, and the siblings were silently loading them. It's a little scary. Even now, touching one of these, I get the feeling Dad will yell, "Don't touch that," and hit me. Nah, well, isn't that great? I'm sure glad we all know how to handle firearms. Despite the fact that we were never allowed to touch them.
And seemingly have hands poorly configured for the purpose of trigger manipulation.
Dad always said the mitten hands were genetic. No matter how much you touch them, you won't be hit again. Also, we have very poor trigger discipline, as all of us have our fingers constantly on the trigger in our artwork.
Including when it's pointed directly at Rudolph there.
It's just a Rudolph. Well, I mean, okay, that's fair.
I can't believe it.
Every one of them! No one has good trigger discipline in this game.
To think that Father would meet this kind of end.
Well, I never did expect Kindle-san to die normally in his bed. But even so, it's so horrible. Hey, how come I don't get a gun sprite? Come on, pass me mine. I wonder if that really was Father. I think it might be a different person's corpse used as a substitute to trick us.
No, it was Father, without a doubt. You saw his toes, right? Generally speaking, there aren't many humans with 6 toes on both feet.
Did we know that? I feel like we knew that.
Yeah, from Arc 2
from when we had
he was
his
burned? Or was that Arc 1?
Whatever, yeah, okay, that had been brought up before. Wow, Natsuhi, you look like you'd be a natural holding one of these. But that doesn't mean that such people don't exist. I've heard that polydactyly isn't that rare a disease. We'll talk later about the fact that I'm calling polydactyly a disease right now, but he was a man who liked large-scale tricks, right? He might have obtained a corpse from somewhere that had the same number of toes on both feet.
Ridiculous. Why would he do something like that? I'd agree if it was a normal person.
I like how they all just immediately agree that, like, no, yeah, Kinzo would. Yeah, actually, no, he would do something like that, wouldn't he?
But this is Father we're talking about. You can't be sure Kyrie-san's talking nonsense.
After all, burning a corpse makes it hard to identify. Not that I know anything about that from previous go-rounds. What am I saying, anyway? Still, there should be a few ways to examine from his teeth and bone structure. The police investigated, of course they'd be able to know whose body it was right away. The problem is that we need a telephone engineer more than the police right now.
The boats probably won't come in this typhoon.
And neither will your husband. Heyo! Grouse, we talked about this. I know, it's just serving it up, so, like, it was like, you can't expect me not to take a swing at it. Rosa, you understand, right? Come on.
So, will they arrive tomorrow?
Most likely, the boat will come again at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Then I believe we'll be able to contact the police. I have no idea. Probably Rosa again.
It's the same for us, and the culprit. Until the typhoon passes, this island will be closed off.
Just from our parents' conversation, you could probably figure out the general gist, but let's explain the situation anyway. Let's explain! There's... You know what? What if we did a hard pivot on our channel from Let's Plays to Let's Explains?
I think you'll find the niche may be somewhat saturated already, even if not by that name.
No one's calling it by that name, though, and it's right there. First, early that morning, in various places throughout the mansion, a total of 6 corpses, including grandfather and all the servants, had been found one after another. First, grandfather had been in the boiler room, completely burned. Oh, they did that again, okay. The servants had died, each shut up in the rooms throughout the mansion that had magic circles drawn on them. The cause of death of the servants was uncertain, but according to Dr. Nanjo's diagnosis, there was a high likelihood that they had been stabbed by something like a spear, or possibly shot with a gun. Do those leave similar wounds? I can't believe those leave similar wounds.
I wouldn't think so. That said, I don't know how much analysis has been able to be done, or how familiar Dr. Nanjo is with gunshot wounds or spears.
Very, very familiar. Thank you very much. Caused several in my lifetime. That is why the adults had started arming themselves with Winchesters. And what made the situation even more chaotic was the fact that the telephones had become unusable. It was unknown if lightning had caused them to break down or if the culprit had broken them. At any rate, since contact with the outside had been cut off, we couldn't reach the police. So until the typhoon passes and a boat comes tomorrow morning, we'll have to protect ourselves. After all, Rokkenjima is now isolated by the typhoon. We're just as stuck on the island, and so is the culprit. It seemed that the adults had stayed up all night holding the family conference in the mansion's dining hall the whole time. And yet the crime had occurred in the mansion, so right when the adults had been in uproar over money, the murderer had been killing under the same roof. They say Aunt Natsu's been strict about locking the doors and windows at the night, and yet some suspicious person had entered and left the mansion. The adults had decided that the inside of the mansion was too large to be safe, so they'd pulled out the guns and moved to the guest house where we had been. Imagine having so much space in your home that you're like, nah, I don't feel safe with all this space around me. God, what decadence. Which brings us to the present. George Anakian had begged to see Shannon-chan's corpse, but the adults had refused, saying that he mustn't do so until the police arrived. That wasn't just because they wanted to seal all the rooms to preserve the scene. After all, the culprit who had killed 6 people was wandering about the mansion. To the Ushiromiya family right now, the mansion that should have been their home was now a danger zone that an unknown murderer could enter and leave at will. After all, it's a huge mansion. There are plenty of blind spots and dark places, and it's too vast to guarantee absolute safety with this number of people. Relatively speaking, the guest house was much smaller, and had 2 above-ground stories. Something like 10 or so rooms. Apparently it had originally been constructed to serve as a small hotel, as part of the plan to turn this island into a resort. So it was easier to know what was going on everywhere inside it, and it'd be easier to keep safe. It made for a good place to hole up in. Also, it's extremely likely that this mass murder of 6 people was a game. After all, the culprit had proclaimed so in a letter. I heard that a Western-style envelope with the family crest, just like the one Maria had claimed to have received from Beatrice yesterday, had been found in the boiler room where grandfather's corpse had been discovered. This is what the letter said. so that there will be no misunderstandings. Actually, do you want to read? Yeah, this is probably beta, right?
So that there will be no misunderstandings. The game I seek is for everyone to try and solve the riddle of the epitaph, not for you to try and catch me. If you don't solve the riddle, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number.
Interesting. Something about that.
It would be wiser to spend your time solving the epitaph instead of searching for me. If no one can solve the riddle, no one will survive.
Interesting. Can we muse on this for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wonder if this is part of the author maybe trying to steer people back in the right direction. People were very vocal on the comments in our last video about the nature of this particular nature of this particular episode and what the author was trying to accomplish with it. And it gets me thinking, like, is the author trying to make sure that we're all on the same page here? Like, no, trying to figure out what's going on with Beato and then the witches and trying to explain that isn't what you should be trying to do now. The riddle and the epitaph is what you need to solve. I wonder if that's his way of trying to refocus people.
Maybe.
It's been a while since we pulled out the epitaph, but I don't know that we've learned anything salient to it, you know?
Well, let's try pulling it up just in case.
Yeah. Like, behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. There sleeps the key to the golden land. Okay, this is the listing of the Twilights. One shall be, the witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the golden land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. And one shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time.
Can I see that second page?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've regarded like this bit of it here, but I still don't feel like we've learned much new that'll help us.
So we've learned new things about Beato and Beato's background, but none of it appears to be salient to this, at least at first glance.
At first, like, if it is, then it's definitely in a way that's very oblique, or a way that'll become much clearer later on. Like I'm looking at it trying to. The one that I think we're likely to get the biggest foothold on before anything else is the phrase, "Look for the shore the two will tell you of." I still don't know what yet, but I have a feeling before we figure anything else out, we're gonna figure out who the two are.
Maybe.
At least that's what I think would be my end to this.
My thought was the key.
The key?
Because we know that what's going to be located is the key to the Golden Land, and then at the top of the next page, that the one who obtains the key must travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules, which seems to imply some sort of role for whoever obtained the key in the various ceremonies.
When they say they must travel to the Golden Land in accordance with these rules, are the rules then the listing of the Twilights and the killings?
Yeah,
does that mean that the person who obtains the key is the one who's... But that would mean that Beato is the one who's already got the key and is...
I don't know.
What sense would that make?
I'm not sure. But I figured, maybe the key thing.
Or did it mean in accordance with the rules in the paragraph prior here?
I felt like at one point we had someone referred to as a key, but I may be misremembering that.
If it did, then I don't recall it now, but we should be paying more attention to that, I'm sure, as well. Huh. Yeah, maybe my beloved hometown might refer to the second mansion or something like.
I don't know. It doesn't seem too beloved, huh?
No, it doesn't. But Beato also does seem one to have a very warped conception of love. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here, but...
Well, I guess no one will survive then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, as we all know...
better luck next round.
Let's all love Beato.
Yeah.
If a person appears who can miraculously solve it... Oh, that's you.
If a person appears who can miraculously solve it, I will give them all the gold of the Golden Land, the Ushiromiya family headship, and all of my power.
Gold of the Golden Land. It's not literal gold, right?
Maybe it is.
I mean, the Ushiromis are fixated on literal gold because that's what they need, but, like, it's not going to be literal gold, right? What is gold and Golden Land actually... The Golden Land, does that tie back into the fact that her butterflies are all golden colored?
Maybe.
All the gold of the Golden Land. Does that mean... What? Could that mean, like, her magic?
I had figured her power referred to that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It'd be redundant.
I was the one who succeeded the Ushiromiya family headship after Kinzo-sama. I look forward to seeing who will succeed to that headship after me. The Golden Witch, Beatrice, that's me.
Is Golden Land just... her place? She calls herself the Golden Witch, right? Is the Golden Land just her place? Is it just the fucking purgatory hell void where Battler is chilling out eating cookies with Ronove?
I mean, it seems like she's been calling the Golden Land something like that, because we've heard of it at the end of the previous two arcs, where it's like, oh, that's where you're going after everybody else has died, and you're the ones that are left alive.
So what?
And it hasn't been too great a place.
No. What gold is there in the Golden Land?
I don't know.
Because if the Golden Land actually does refer to that fucking, like, what was it, Purgatorio? Whatever. Then, like... The riddle of the epitaph was that thing. That strange epitaph written by the portrait of the witch on display in the hall of the mansion. Grandfather was the one who had it written, and the person who solved it would, supposedly, be given the inheritance or the hidden gold or something like that. Ever since it was first put on display there several years ago, the relatives had secretly tried to solve that riddle, despite saying on the surface that the whole idea was silly. However, up until today, no one had solved it. We were once again being urged to solve that unintelligible riddle, and this time we were faced with the threat that we'd all be killed if we didn't solve it. If that wasn't a game, what else could it be? Yeah, see, this entire section just strikes me as very meta.
Can we just take one more look at the epitaph?
Yeah, we can always take a look at the epitaph. Confusion will be my epitaph. No King Crimson fans in the house. Listen to some fucking No, that was 1969. That wasn't even 70s rock. That was 1969.
Which album is that?
In the court of the goddamn Crimson King.
Do you mind if I take a look at this one?
Oh, this one?
For a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, walk me through what you're...
So, I don't have a solid walkthrough for it, but I have a wild theory. And this is probably completely wrong.
No, hit me.
My wild theory is, what if this is written in a metafictional way and is not referring to direct things happening in the setting that the characters can solve, but is instead referring to things about the story that we, the reader, would be able to notice and solve, and is non-literal in that way.
Interesting. So you think it's an epitaph written not to the characters in game, but to the player?
Or at least that it's not one about the specific events that we are seeing in a chapter. Because we've already seen that there's a metafictional element to it in some way, where there's the whole worlds that Battler and Beato are in that seems to be somehow distinct from the worlds in which these events are occurring.
Okay. So not a message to the player, but a message to the people outside of the game.
Perhaps.
Interesting.
That it might be something that is meant to be solved from the perspective of outside the individual games. being played in the chapters. But I'm not finding anything that's cluing me in here.
If that was the case, why would they then make a big deal of making the Ushiromias try to solve it? Just for shits?
There's one of them that could. Battler.
Yeah, but it's also super unclear what the connection between Game Battler and Meta Battler is. Game Battler keeps talking as if he has no idea what's going on, but Meta Battler still has some measure of influence over Game Battler.
I suppose we'll see as we go on.
It's an interesting theory. I don't know if I buy it, but I like your gumption. The only other thing I'd say to that is that why would people in whatever station Meta Battler is at, why would they need to then reach the Golden Land if that's presumably where they're playing the game from?
Because the point is, solve the epitaph riddle. So what if it's not? What if it's not a literal description of a location called the Golden Land, and the steps and all of that, but is some sort of thing that, from the meta perspective, is solvable.
One other thing that comes to mind, as long as we're here on this page, the phrase "the shore." We've had exactly two important shores in this story so far. There's the shore where everyone lands on the boat, and there's a shore where Beato eats shit.
Yeah. But none of them immediately ring as one that the two
will tell you
of.
And what would the village be? The village would be the second mansion? No. Again, I feel like I'm being too literal for that, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless
we'll see.
Unless the key to the Golden Land is on Beato's fucking corpse. Actually, I'm not entirely convinced that's not a possibility. That seems like that seems way too literal, though. No, I don't buy that. Anyway. The bold opinion that we should search the premises for the culprit did come up once. However, there was a good chance they were armed and might not just be one of them. And while they might have been able to kill more than 6 people, they had stopped at 6. The opinion that won out in the end was we should avoid needlessly antagonizing the culprit and hole up in a safe place while we waited for the police to arrive. The adults carefully checked that the doors and windows in the guest house were locked. They set up camp in the lobby. So they loaded their guns to distract themselves from the tension. Their expressions showed that they were already fatigued from this long day, which had still barely begun. There was nothing for me to do. Now all I could do was be taught how to use a gun to prepare for the off chance something happening that led to an excess of guns. My God. Why would you bold that? Stop this. That's fine. Just obediently stay there, me and the rest of you. 6 people in the beginning again. And this time, it's grandfather and all of the servants put together. Most likely. That child has carefully studied your moves from the last game, and has made an optimal move by taking the pieces you are most likely to suspect from the start. Well, that makes sense. That was true both last time and the time before that. The servants who know everything about the mansion and who walk around with keys always fall into the most suspicious category of people. A good example of the last game would be Jessica's closed room. If only I'd accepted that a servant was the culprit, it wouldn't have even been a closed room. And so, that child went straight for them, probably to block off a method of escape you'd be likely to attempt sooner or later. Beato already proclaimed and read that there are no more than 18 people on this island. In other words, it's time to give up on that. Now I've got to suspect one of the 18.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
So I wonder if he's going to go for our like Beato is possessing someone kind of thing, or otherwise exerting some kind of influence upon. He wouldn't have to say possession, but like maybe she blackmailed someone before they got to the island or something, right?
So I'm just gonna come right out and say it.
Yeah, hit me.
I suspect Dave with this arc.
Elaborate.
Purely because of purely because of the stuff at the beginning with Beato's image of her younger self and all of that and all of those things.
Right. And it seems like at the beginning of the arc, they were certainly building her character up more to be like, okay, she's going to probably be one of the important faces this time around.
And I have absolutely no explanation for how she could be involved with any of the killings so far.
Yeah.
But
it's also very much they're framing this as, at least this arc, as her battle to secure the headship that she feels she is most deserving of.
Mm-hmm.
So at least from the perspective of how you write fiction, it certainly seems like she'll be important. But you think she's actually under the influence of Beato somehow?
I do.
Okay.
Also, running this out there as well.
Okay. Yeah.
What if Natsuhi and Kraus are the two that are close that'll die for that Twilight this arc? Just putting that right out there.
Natsuhi?
I have no justification.
Well, who else is left that would be considered
any number of people depending on interpretations.
Yeah, okay.
Or repeats. We don't know that there won't be, but just putting that out there.
Okay.
Those are my theories. I have zero backup.
Just taking a pot shot.
Yeah.
All right. I would like to put out one theory.
Yeah.
Predecessor Beato's haircut is trash.
Wow, rude.
Who has angle hair? Look at this. You can't have natural hair. You gotta have trapezoids going on.
Just for that, I'm gonna get a trapezoid haircut.
I would like to see you try.
It would be hard, but I'll do it.
You'll do it? You promise?
No, I don't. It would probably be really annoying.
Okay. That child will probably come at you by stealing the pieces for all the 18, while also making an appearance as the 19th person who shouldn't exist. For then you would be forced to accept that your opponent is a witch. After all, now that the intimidation approach has failed, trying to force you to surrender by showing you magic, the only remaining option is a frontal attack. Perfect! Bluffing won't work anymore. Be careful. Deception is what witches are best at. No matter what your opponent says or shows you, you'll not be able to threaten the truth that you believe in. Don't forget that. Okay, fine. Is that their way of saying, no matter what your opponent says or shows you, will not be able to threaten the truth that you believe in? Is that your way of saying that, if Beato straight up does something that we're like, wait, bullshit, that we shouldn't take what she's saying and doing at face value?
Perhaps so.
But witches are real. And they're my friend.
They are real if you believe.
Oh, clap twice if you believe. Come on, everyone, clap twice if you believe. That was 3 times.
I believe 50% harder.
Oh my god. Sure, as if I'd fall for the same moves over and over again. Come on out, Beatrice. Let's get started.
I am already seated at the table of the contest. And my turn is already complete.
Oh, fuck, I thought I'd have a little bit longer to finish my coffee first. To think we would end up having Madam as our foe. This will not be easy, my lady. Our moves will be read thoroughly. She will make reads that make every English teacher in Japan proud. Wait.
I was waiting for you to catch that.
I was making a reference to a particularly famous line of fighting game commentary, but...
Close enough.
Close enough.
I care not. By now, teachers' moves are all old-fashioned classics. There is nothing to fear.
Oh, you better be careful. She might just walk up slowly and down smash. So, just what moves can you make beyond the classics I taught you? I look forward to seeing, Beatrice. Battle, you're not really needed here anymore. Just go, sit in the corner at your table.
I also look forward to seeing Beatrice. That's me. You okay with this, battler? Can someone who denies witches really accept a witch as a strategist?
Your stupid provocation is pointless. This is my advisor. No, my second. That doesn't change one bit that this is a fist fight between you and me. Also, let's not get into an actual fistfight because I've got your left hook before, and man, it's mean.
I understand. One as wobbly as yourself probably needs training wheels on his bicycle.
Hey, just because I never learned how to ride a bike doesn't mean you have to be rude about it.
And yet, it's me. Do as you like. Come, let us begin. It's your turn.
Okay, rook to e5. Fuck.
Go fish.
Alright, then I'll press go and collect $200.
You forgot to say Uno.
Fuck. I feel like we've stopped playing Umineko and are now playing Kelvin Ball.
You can't spell Umineko without Uno.
Wait, yes you can. What? What's worse is that I had to sit here and think about it for like 10 seconds. Like, that's the part that hurts the most. Not the fact that the pun was silly, but just like that I had to think about it. Anyway, enough of that. Let's begin with the reconstruction of the crime scene. Virgila, quickly, please. The first corpse discovered was Shannon's. She was found in the parlor on the first floor of the mansion. The door and windows were locked and a closed room was established. Beatu, I need some details. Let's reconfirm the definition of a closed room.
Indeed. The term closed room refers to a room where the inside and the outside are completely cut off from each other.
Fun.
Naturally, it will be impossible to even affect things across that boundary line, much less enter or escape across it. This includes an all-inclusive denial of the existence of hidden doors, as well as all possibility of intervention from the outside. Henceforth, this shall be referred to as Beatrice's closed room definition.
Nope, it's mine now.
It's named after me.
Nope, it's Battler's.
No, I did it first.
I put my name on it.
Piss.
I win.
Well, in any case, it abbreviates to BCRD anyway. So the audience will just know that the B is for Beato.
What? No, the B is clearly for Battler. Audience, please leave something in the comment section letting us know whether you prefer Battler or Beato. It better be Battler. God damn it. Let's focus in a bit. How about you define all possibility of intervention from the outside?
I refer to all types of direct intervention from the outside, such as using a fishing line or a long, thin rod. In conclusion, there are no gaps in the doors and windows through which such tricks will work.
I wonder about that. Even if there wasn't a gap, you should be able to intervene with radio waves, like a remote control, right?
Very well. I'll add to this definition that interference due to radio waves and related methods of remote control shall be impossible.
They built the fucking mansion in a Faraday cage? What the fuck? There's also an extension telephone in the parlor. Device connected to that wouldn't count as a remote control, right?
The phones are already unusable, are they not? Whatever. I'll include that too. All direct and indirect methods of interfering with the inside of the closed room from the outside of the room are impossible.
What about a voice or a knock? Or a magnet? Those should be able to interfere from outside without someone entering the room, right?
Even though it's a closed room, it probably isn't impossible for someone to knock or call out. The closed room definition does not cover whether transmission of intent across the boundary is possible or not.
Ooh, interesting. In other words, you can't make it so your definition includes the blockage of all methods of communication with the outside. That is indeed the case. Understood. So, Shannon-chan's parlor satisfies Beatrice's closed room definition, right? I mean, Battler's closed room definition. Fuck.
Correct.
Closed room definition understood. Battler's closed room definition understood anyway. Continue, Virgila. Virgilia? Virgila? Virginia?
Virginia.
I'm just gonna call you Virginia.
North Virginia.
North Virginia, there we go. Shannon's corpse was in possession of the one master key. The relatives who discovered her collected this. Beato, repeat it. How many master keys this time?
The same as last time. There are 5, 1 for each servant.
Which means this still isn't a closed room. There's still 4 master keys left. Just means that after Shannon was murdered, one of the other 4 keys locked it. Correct. And it wasn't only a master key that was found. Yes. Alongside the corpse there was a western envelope with the family crest. Instead of a letter, the key to a guest room on the 2nd floor was inside it. She's gonna do the nested key thing.
Oh no!
She's gonna do the very bad Legend of Zelda dungeon design thing. My god. And that one was a small key, right? Not to be confused with the bus key that I could get at the end of the dungeon. The key to a 2nd floor guest room. The only key other than the master key that can open the door to that 2nd floor guest room. Is that definition correct?
Indeed, there is no problem. And unlike the master keys, only one of those exists.
You can tell I'm a good debater because I focus so much on definitions. That's what the good debaters do.
Literally putting the microphone in front of my view.
I'm sorry.
And touching my head.
I'm sorry.
It's fine where it is, I'm sure.
In other words, apart from the 5 master keys, there will only be 1 key that can unlock certain rooms. In other words, this is a message telling him to go to the 2nd floor guest room next. So don't move to the 2nd floor guest room, right? Yes. The door to the 2nd floor guest room was locked. A magic circle was drawn on it. The relatives unlocked it with the key they had found near Shannon's corpse. Inside, Kumasawa's corpse was discovered. It was a closed room as well. One that satisfied Battler's closed room definition.
Okay, but what about mine? Did it satisfy mine?
I regretfully do not know what you're talking about.
Okay, let's back up. You can use the scroll wheel to return to a prior bit of dialogue.
I could, but I don't think I will. I love them getting really petty over. Kumasawa was in possession of 1 master key. The relatives collected this. And like in Shannon's case, there was a western envelope discovered alongside her. Inside was the key to the 3rd floor waiting room. The relatives moved to the 3rd floor waiting room. So the adults sneezed, and then there was a magic circle in the door to the 3rd floor waiting room, and the door was also locked. But the sneezing was important and salient. Yes, and the sneezing was important and salient. Battler. I can see why she doesn't like putting up with you. Inside the room, Goto's corpse was discovered. The room was a closed room, one that satisfied Battler's closed room definition. Goto was in possession of 1 master key. The relatives collected this. And like up until now, a western envelope with the family seal was discovered, inside of which was the key to the 2nd floor VIP room. The relatives moved to the 2nd floor VIP room. What's going on here? What are you planning? Battler, how do you not see it coming a mile away?
Because it's Battler.
Yeah, okay, fine.
There's no need to glare, is there? It may be a closed room, but there are still multiple master keys that can open it, correct? And besides the master keys, I've even given you keys specific to each room.
I don't like where this is going, but I'm starting to see how it'll turn out. So, continues like this for all 6 people? Yes, that is correct. Inside the 2nd floor VIP room, Genji's corpse was discovered. 1 master key was collected. The key to the underground boiler room was discovered. They moved to the underground boiler room. Inside the underground boiler room, Kinzo's corpse was discovered. The key to the chapel was discovered. They moved to the chapel. Oh, so there was no master key with Kinzo.
Yep.
Because one of them had to not. They moved to the chapel. Inside the chapel, Cannon's corpse was discovered. 1 master key was collected. The key to the 1st floor parlor was discovered. With this, our reconstruction of how all 6 corpses were discovered is now complete. Man addendum. Along with the key to the chapel, a letter was enclosed in the western envelope found near Kinzo's corpse. The contents of the letter were, as you saw. It further urged the relatives to solve the riddle of the epitaph. Well, in that case, what's going on? The last place where Kinnington was had the key to the very first room, parlor where Shannon-chan was. Then you 6 closed rooms all tied together, right?
That is correct. The 6 closed rooms are all connected. The keys to unlock each one are all shut up inside the next room.
You know that's just unnecessarily extra of you.
And yet...
You could have just left the keys inside the room they were supposed to be locked in, but no! You were all like, what if I make this weird nested chain of keys and everything? Remind me to never let you design a Legend of Zelda dungeon.
In other words, the 6 closed rooms form one massive closed room, and all of the master keys, as well as the individual room keys, are shut up inside it. Furthermore, all of the doors and windows on the 6 rooms are normal. No device exists which can lock them without a key, such as an auto lock. What do you think? It's beautiful, isn't it?
Once again, milady, that is not dignified. When Ronove rebuked her, Beato stuck out her tongue at him without showing any signs of shame. Beato. Do you want to do it again? Nice.
Sorry. Playing with Battler just put me into such a good mood for some reason that's probably not important. So, Battler?
Yes, that's me.
What do you think of my move? If you can't think of anything in particular, I wouldn't mind showing you how I made the goats carry the corpses and seal all of the rooms with magic, okay?
Do what you want. I'll listen respectfully to this magic theory you claim is true. However, I can claim my human theory, even though it's completely different from yours, without any interference from your claim. In other words, there's no need for me to pay any attention to your bullshit, bench. Go ahead and show me how you can lock the door with your multicolored magic simply by waving your magic staff. Just like these guys with their toad oil and all-purpose kitchen knives. Virgilia, let us reconstruct the crime scene. Search for a weakness. Were they all definitely dead? If one of them is just playing dead, this isn't a closed room at all. Nanjo confirmed that all of them were indeed dead. However, due to the devil's proof, it is impossible to deny the possibility of a wrong diagnosis. In other words, that child cannot make the likelihood that Nanjo overlooked them being alive equal to 0. I feel like the microphone is following me now. I don't want it to get... Microphone, Sean. Go see someone else for a bit. Michael, we talked about this. I need some space. Here it is, that devil's proof. Just like pudding. It's very tasty. But there exists a sword that can curve that up.
What's up with them? Looks like they're having a good time, leaving me out of the discussion.
Phantom wants to play and they won't let her.
I'm his opponent, am I not? Doesn't he have any time to spare for me?
Nope.
This is really important to me for reasons that probably aren't important.
Battler, I'm just so annoyed with you. I could kiss you. I mean, kill you. I mean, what are we talking about? Fundamentally speaking, communication with one's opponent is not necessary to the act of competing in chess. Every time you communicated with him outside of making your moves, you've used that opportunity to confuse him. Perhaps this is the result of him not wanting to be led astray. Sad Beato.
For some reason, I don't like it.
You are challenging him to a chess match, are you not?
That's true, but...
Beatrice puffed out her cheeks as though to say, I don't know why, but I don't like it. Tsundere Beato. Oh. Because the police have not yet arrived at the crime scene, the human's ability to inspect the scene is limited. For strict confirmation of death, I recommend that you have the child repeated in red. Okay, let's roll a strike. Repeat it! The 6 victims are all dead. Milady, he has told you to repeat something in red, has he not? Hey, enough lazing around! Do you refuse to repeat it? This is where our battle starts.
What? Ow. Sorry, that's fine, I'll answer.
Come on, you're not making this fun anymore.
These 6 are all dead. Kinzo, Genji, Shannon, Kanon, Goda, and Kumasawa.
Oh, why are you so out of it? Okay, so I've already got one out of you. We'll start by denying that classic trick where the victims are playing dead.
I won't go easy on you anymore. Come at me how you like. I'll slice them slantwise, one after another.
And then maybe we can go out and, like, I don't know, maybe share a picnic basket or something.
Oh, really? That'd be great.
I think that'd be... Wait, hold on. Then repeat this. No one is hiding in any of the 6 rooms. Let's see you deny the existence of people we aren't aware of.
I'll answer. There is no one hiding in the 6 rooms.
Okay. Now I'm sure it's only the 6 of them in the can, and they are pretending to be dead.
What will you do? What will you do?
I don't know. Probably ask Rudaway for like a refill.
Oh yeah, that would be tops right now.
Hey Rudaway, can we get some fresh drinks around here? You know, I'm like sort of participating in this game as well, but no, it's fine. Yeah, no, I take pride in my job as your butler.
As if a human could manage anything by now. Obediently kneel to the fact that I can control locks at will with my wonderful magic, okay?
I'm good, but thank you. Quit babbling. Repeat this too. The 6 deaths were instant deaths.
Instant deaths? Huh, what do you mean by that?
So he's trying to eliminate the possibility that they locked themselves in after dying.
Yeah.
That means there's a possibility that a single victim on the verge of death managed to escape into the room, and after locking it from the inside to create a closed room, they passed away. A classic closed room murder trick. One requiring that the victim receive a fatal wound and then die later. It is possible for a closed room to be constructed unexpectedly if the victim holds up inside the room to escape the murderer, and then dies after locking the door. In order to deny that possibility, you will need to proclaim that the 6 died instantly with the red truth.
Very well, very well. I'll slay you with my red treasured sword.
If she doesn't use her red treasured sword in the fighting game, I'm gonna flip the table.
The 6 died instantly. By died instantly, I mean that the targets instantly became incapable of action after being attacked. Well, it might still have taken them several seconds or minutes to die in the complete sense of the word, but regardless, it was completely impossible for them to take any actions of their own will. In that sense, I can confirm that they suffered instant deaths.
Oh, up until this point, I've just been checking for the classic tricks. That's when our showdown over the closed rooms really starts, okay? If the culprit isn't on the inside, then they're on the outside. So they somehow killed from outside the rooms.
Have you lost your mind? After all, a closed room equals murder is impossible from the outside, right? That's why only a magical murder would be possible.
You're wrong. What if it was the brown note?
Or what if they set up traps?
Yeah, that's true.
We haven't ruled that out.
No, that's wrong. The right approach is a murder really happened equals it isn't a closed room. No matter how much you try to trick me, this definitely isn't a closed room. It's a shame that only looks like one. However, Battler Sama, only the victims are inside the rooms, and no other people exist inside the rooms. And by my lady's closed room Sorry, I gotta side with her on this one. And by my lady's closed room definition, stop enjoying this. Remote murders from the outside the room have been clearly denied, have they not? Wait. The definition of remote murders is pretty broad, right? It's not just about pulling a fishing line from outside the room and strangling the victim inside the room. For example, a trap would make for an excellent remote murder.
A trap? Huh. And what might that be?
Wait, like, you don't know what a trap is?
Humor me.
Just as an example, let's say they were instructed to enter the rooms that someone had picked out beforehand and lock the doors from the inside to create the closed rooms themselves. A trap was set up in those rooms they didn't know about, and that's what killed them. How's that? That doesn't contradict anything at all. There are no problems. It corresponds to the existing state. There are no problems on our side either. It does not conflict with Milady's closed room definition, or the MCDR.
What's with that stupid reasoning? Nothing suspicious was found in any of the rooms, right? What form did the trap have? Where was it hidden and how did it operate? Explain that for all 6 of them, in the parlor, the guest room, the waiting room, the VIP room, the boiler room, and the chapel.
I don't think he needs to. I don't think Battler needs to, does he?
Well, you can't, can you?
Because it's not his job to provide the exact turn of events. It's his job to just prove the possibility.
But I also don't think that...
Yeah. I refuse to counter that. There's no need for me to explain, and failing to do so doesn't damage my claim.
What did you say?
You notice how big my arm looks in this image? I get that it's meant to be like coming towards the viewer, right? And popping out into the Z-axis, but still, my hand is fucking huge.
Your hand's so big you could palm my head like a basketball. It's fucked up.
Where did my hands get this? Have you noticed I don't have enough fingers either? Like, I didn't think mitten hands were genetic, but apparently they are. Beatrice, it's the devil's proof. The fact that he cannot explain the nature of the trap does not in itself deny the existence of such a trap. Well done. Well overbearing. A wonderful move.
This guy's getting completely used to this.
Check. Due to murder trap X that we couldn't find, it'd be possible to establish this closed room murder.
I'll kill that check with the red truth.
Oh no, not the red check mark.
The 6 were not killed by traps.
The definition of a trip?
Oh. That's it. Something that activates when a victim triggers it on their own.
That's not enough, Manto.
Oh, and that's not all. It also includes things activated by remote control or by a timer. Everything of that sort.
So it refers to all arrangements that could carry out a murder without the direct participation of the one who planned it out. Perhaps we might sum it up that way.
How's that? I struck back. As if I'd let a human crush this closed room.
You're looking pretty frantic to win, too.
What? What do you mean?
You're frantically fighting to make me accept your existence. Until now, I thought I was just being toyed around with by you one-sidedly. But that's not actually true. You're also frantically resisting my counters, fighting to show that you exist. No, I finally feel that it's true. This isn't torture inflicted on me over whether I'll surrender or not. This is a fight between you and me on even footing! Okay, now it's starting to get interesting, isn't it? All 6 died in closed rooms and no outsiders were inside. And there was no meddling from the outside and no traps. Up till now, I'd probably start suspecting that this had to be the work of magic. And if you decided to show off some bizarre magic at this moment, I might even have surrendered. It's that favorite strategy of yours. You intercept all my moves in the moment I've exhausted all my options and fallen to my knees. When my heart's barriers are at their weakest, you show off some strange magic and take the game out at once. That short temper is something this child has always had, along with a bad habit of rushing things when victory is in sight. After all, milady cannot stand putting off a match.
Hey, shut up. It's Battler's turn, right?
Where did Birdie go?
Yeah.
I feel like she was with us for what? What about Lambda Delta? She just showed up and then fucked off.
Yeah, I wonder.
Is she out, like, is she out getting, like, groceries or something?
I finished off that trap piece you advanced. What should I repeat next? Show me what you've got.
Show us what you got. Right! Now that even traps have been defeated, this looks like a perfect closed room murder at a glance. And this will spin the chessboard around right now.
Here it comes, that special technique of yours. How exactly are you going to spin what around?
Right round, baby!
Try showing me.
Yeah, I'll show you. I don't need to think about how 6 people could be killed inside closed rooms from the outside. It's useless, it's all useless. That's right, the question isn't how you can kill from outside the rooms. The point is how they died inside the rooms, making them closed rooms. That's it, this is the answer. If you assume that one of the 6 victims was the culprit, this closed room can be explained extremely easily.
What? Ridiculous. I believe I clearly said in red that the 6 of them were dead.
Oh, there were 6 deaths. 5 were victims who got killed. But if you assume the other person committed suicide, you can destroy this closed room. Certainly. If the culprit locked themselves inside the final closed room and threw away their own life, this closed room chain could be established. The suicide of the culprit. Normally it would be an unthinkable move, but the argument that the unthinkable cannot exist cannot be used. And he has no responsibility to demonstrate a motive. A truly powerful move which can only be used in a chess match against a witch. Well, I mean, regular chess, they don't actually play with killing people. You know that, right?
Wait. Hold up. This explains a lot about my last tournament, huh?
Putting that shocking revelation aside, one could not be certain that there was no motive. For example, it has been announced that Kinzo only had a short time left to live. Perhaps he did not regret losing his short remaining life and used his own death to send a message. Might be possible to attach such a motive. Milady, it is our turn.
Indeed. To think you'd trample even the dignity of the dead to create a culprit.
Don't you go around talking about the dignity of the dead. What the fuck is wrong with you? You were pulping my aunts and my uncles to make, like, blood juice that you then fed to my aunt, and, like, you want to talk about dignity of the dead?
That was pretty cool, right?
It was fucked up. I can't believe you did that. You're just so damn sexy. I mean, scary.
What a heartless, cold-blooded man.
They'll set up the dead as the culprit. This is worse than an inhuman move. Is one you used to attack Kennen-kun in the last game. If the games are different, I'm taking a shot back at you with this move as a tribute to Kennen-kun for that time. Just now I freed that Kennen-kun from his regrets. Is it like a parallel universes scenario, or... Hold on, I need to build up speed for 24 hours before I can counter your next move. You have no responsibility to hold back here. You should try to confirm that suicide wasn't the cause of any of their deaths. I recommend that you have that child repeat it in red. Right! But suicide's a naive word. That won't quarter her. Beato, this'll stop you. Repeat it! The 6 deaths were all homicides. That is painful. Because they weren't. We saw them.
Wait, what?
Because we, wait. Does homicide refer to, like, murderous intent? Like, is Genji putting Shannon and, well, like, willingly putting Shannon and Cannon down, like, with their consent? Does that still count as homicide?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Ugu.
What's wrong? All 6 of them were killed, right? I'm just confirming that simple premise we've had from the very beginning, right? Can't you repeat it?
I refuse to repeat it. There's no reason in particular.
Sure. You realize that refusing to repeat this part is the same as resigning, right? Checkmate, asshole. One of the 6 was the culprit, and they can plan to commit suicide after constructing the closed room. That is all.
Wait, no, I'll say it. I'll use the red like you want. None of the 6 committed suicide. How's that? Are you satisfied? I've struck back.
What the hell? So you can say it. But that's strange. Why are you so panicky?
She didn't say what he asked.
She didn't confirm that they were homicide. She said none of them were suicide.
So I wonder if that technicality will matter.
Yep.
It's your imagination. This time, even I'm feeling the pressure.
Oh, you're feeling the pressure. You were feeling okay.
Yeah, I'm really feeling it. That's right. I don't have any leeway.
Wait, repeat that, but with a slightly more British accent.
I'm really feeling it.
Oh, there we go. Now it's battler time.
Pay it no mind.
The line you asked the child to repeat has been altered. Do not be fooled. It seems not to have worked, milady. That's right! She didn't say the 6 deaths were all homicides. She changed it to none of the 6 committed suicide. Which means one of them wasn't killed by someone else and didn't commit suicide. Ugh. I got it! This is the truth. Culprit X, who was hiding among the 6, murdered the other 5, then set up a closed room. After that, they planned to escape from or hide in that room by some method. However, they got in an accident. The culprit died from an accident that even they hadn't expected, setting up a closed-room murder that even they hadn't desired. Now it's over, Beatrice. Check fucking mate.
Damn it. Did you think I'd be cornered by something like that? I'd never announce my resignation over something like that.
You sure?
I'll slice up that foolish checkmate with my red treasured sword over and over again.
You keep referring to it as your red treasured sword over, like, what are you trying to do, rewrite the fucking Iliad?
Yes.
Not every fucking object needs an epitaph, you know.
It'd be fucking cool, though.
An epithet, not an epitaph. I got them confused because of the nature of the game we're playing.
That's fair. Anyway, none of the 6 died in an accidental...
My apologies. We request some time to strategize. Please allow us a brief postponement on this matter. That's a fair request. Perhaps you should accept it. Sure, take a break. I've been giving those a lot lately. Now it's your turn to take one. Thank you very much. Come, milady, this way, and let us quietly count to 100 inside our heads. Ronove quickly covered Beato's mouth with his hand as she grew thoroughly panicked and agitated, suspending the game. He pulled Beato away, supposedly to hold a strategy conference. He just starts beating her with like a paper fan, like, bad. Come on, Beato, we've talked about this. Bad. Spec. Damn, that demon butler. When Beato got all hot, I had a perfect chance to corner her.
Got all what?
I said got all... Stop. Are we resuming the game now? Are we resuming the game? No, Battler, we're not resuming the game yet. Milady, we've talked about this. What are we at, 47? Beato normally acted like she was a graceful and above it all, but she actually had a really short temper and got mad easily. Her usual intellect had less of a voice when she got excited. Ronove certainly is thinking clearly. You probably gave your opponent some time to cool down. That child grew too stubborn trying to remove your check. I was about to easily let several large pieces go. After all, the first twilight is only a skirmish. Correct move at that time would have been to withdraw. So, what does it mean? Did I reach checkmate or didn't I? That child was about to say something in red. You probably wouldn't have reached checkmate yet, but most likely, you can expect our opponents to resign once they've cooled their heads. Ew, you're joking! Even though she hates losing that much? Yes. In a losing battle, it is essential to withdraw your troops as soon as possible to try and minimize your losses. The difficult part is gauging whether it's a losing battle or not. Your opponent's butler seems to have calmly made that decision. Oh, hey, I did it! Hey, Birdie, I got one! Birdie, where the hell did she go? Why won't they stick around? Oh well. In other words, she managed to escape by a hair's breadth. Getting checkmate and delivering the final blow won't be that easy for me. However, you should count this as your victory. Seems they barely managed to prevent a large loss. But they certainly sustained considerable damage. The scale of that child's panic ought to make the depths of that wound quite clear to you. Seriously. Feels like she'd start crying if I barely her anymore. Either that or she might be into it. I don't know. It's hard to tell with her. As we talked, Ronove returned with Beata, who wore a meek expression. She didn't yet have her usual bold smile, but it looked like the blood wasn't rushing to her head anymore. Hey, how you doing? It's your turn. Decide on your next move?
I resign. I was trying to get to 100, and I ran out of fingers at 10, and then I managed to get up to 20 with the help of some toes, and anyway, I resigned.
Have you tried counting on Kinzo's toes? It'll get you a little bit further.
Let me borrow those.
Beato told me that frankly. It seemed she'd taken a far-sighted view, as though I was saying, if you want to laugh, then laugh. But it was a bit of a killjoy, and I lost my desire to deliver the final blow. Well, now that you've resigned, that just means we're even, since my theory and yours can't deny each other. You should treat it more like a tie than a loss.
I don't need your disgusting sympathy. I'm telling you that I lost this round. when you find a dog drenched with rain, do you have a sudden urge to whack it with a stick or something?
No, but if it was you, then... Nope, I'm not you. Did he just I'm rubber, you're glue debate?
And it worked!
Wow! Even though she ridiculed me horribly when I showed signs of defeat, this is the best she's got when the tables are turned. I did feel that was pretty cowardly of her, but I decided to act with dignity as the victor and let it slide. Beato resigned. That's the one result of the first twilight. Beatrice couldn't counter my move if one of the 6 was the culprit, and that person died in an accident. No, she probably could have countered it, but for some strategic reasons, he admitted defeat. Felt less like I'd won and more like I'd let her slip away at the last second. In a chess match with a witch, battles can be fought solely with pieces known as X, which require no detailed explanations. Thanks to the Devil's Proof, I could create as many strange fictions as I wanted, and use them as fighters in our argument. But that only works in a chess match with a witch. In our human world, you can't use such abstract theories to explain things. First Twilight was a chain of 6 closed rooms. Certainly may have been possible for a human. Beato wasn't able to deny all possibilities. However, I don't have a clue who committed the crime, or why, or how they actually did it. It may seem strange to hear me saying this after I won, but for some reason I felt like I'd have been more satisfied if Beatrice had been able to say definitively that it was impossible for humans. I managed to avoid specifics using an abstract piece called X, but I couldn't deny the sense that some eerie intent that was never be known was filling up this entire mansion. Anyway, I'm feeling great. Who wants to go out for drinks? My treat. What do they use for money in this place? Is there anything to drink other than witch piss around here?
I have a theory.
What's your theory?
My theory with 0 evidence and 0 reason to believe it is
excellent.
Battler wins in Chapter 4.
Elaborate.
I can't.
Okay. Great. Thank you for sharing your... I mean, it would make sense. He's rapidly gaining on Beato here. Like in this one, he's already given her pretty... He's given it back as good as he gets. I guess then the question is what happens in the last 4 chapters.
Shit gets weird.
Maybe. I mean, he could win but not solve the epitaph.
Or something like that, yeah.
I mean, maybe... It's a possibility. Anyway, when being besieged, your true enemy isn't so much the fear of an unseen culprit, as it is keeping such fears alive for long periods of time. Maria got bored and started complaining that she wanted to watch TV. There was no TV in the lobby, so she decided to return to the cousin room on the 2nd floor. The adults probably wanted to make sure Maria wasn't left on her own. They told all the children to go to the 2nd floor cousin room. George, who was grief-stricken by the loss of his fiancée, led the cousins up to the 2nd floor without any resistance. It's weird that they're calling him a kid and also he has a fiancée. He's like 26, right? That's not a kid. He's not a kid.
Yeah.
He's a grown-ass adult. At first, Najo had been reading a book in the lobby. But when he noticed the relatives looking like they wanted to discuss something sinister, he said, and returned to his room on the 2nd floor. What the hell's gonna happen to Najo, do you think?
Bad things, as usual.
I'm starving. And if I just keep sitting around, we'll get sleepy too.
It's only natural. We didn't get any sleep at all last night.
Yeah, we'll probably end up being barricaded here for a full 24 hours. Maybe wiser to take naps in turn instead of overstressing ourselves.
True. My husband and I will remain here, so I ask that anyone having trouble staying awake take it easy and rest.
Our opponent might be expecting that, right? Even if they couldn't defeat this many people, if that number shrinks enough, they may plan to use that moment to strike. There are 7 of us here, so we could take 3-hour shifts in pairs. Tomorrow morning's a long way off. We still have some energy now, but tonight's going to be tough.
Sure will. Anyone sleepy?
I like how they're preparing for the wrong fight. Even after she is like, yeah, guys, solve the epitaph. It's right there.
Riddles, do my riddle. Do my riddle, please. Riddles!
Do it. Come on, I've been working on it for a while.
Don't overdo it and get some rest.
Hideyoshi looked around at everyone to see who wanted to sleep first, but no one volunteered. Everyone was just as tired, but no one was bold enough to sleep right away. Their fear of the unknown culprit was just as strong as their sleepiness. I do like how they're actually all getting together and working together in this one, despite everything.
Nobody. Well, don't overdo it, everyone.
If we get tired, we'll deal with it then. I'll admit I'm sleepy, but I'm not in the mood now. As Ava spoke sharply, she reread the second letter from Beatrice, which had been found in the boiler room. Beatrice had sent them 2 letters, which had repeatedly told them to solve the riddle of the epitaph. And she'd even provoked them by saying she'd give up her assets in the headship if they could solve it. Ava took out a notebook and opened it to a page with the epitaph copied onto it. Is this that epitaph? Yes. I hate doing what the culprit says, but we do have time to waste. I think it's the perfect way to stave off boredom. Nah, not a bad way to kill time. Or each other. But mostly time. Why don't we challenge it together as siblings? Can I borrow that? I'll rewrite it just a little larger. Natsu-san, do you have a slightly larger piece of paper? Like any of those European printing sizes?
There should be paper in the servant room, but we only have proper American sizes like letter, legal, or tabloid.
But when... Oh, I guess this takes place in Japanifornia too, then. Natsu immediately brought back a blank B4 sheet of paper from the servant room.
What came after?
Wow! Oh, that... Ooh, hold on, that one's smart. I need... Let me... Ooh.
It smarts because I'm smart.
That's not... Kyrie borrowed Ava's notebook, wrote out the epitaph on the paper, and laid it out on the table. Then everyone quickly peered down at it. They automatically formed a crowd.
I've heard about it, but really, this is a tough riddle. I don't have a clue what it's talking about. At one point, I also did my best to solve it, but I was just as clueless.
If you did know, you wouldn't have come all the way out here with a plan to make money. After all, it's 10 tons of gold we're talking about. This is the first time I've read it through seriously, but roughly speaking, couldn't be split into 3 parts. I've been thinking this since last night, but you really are a good thinker, Kyrie-san. Perhaps you'll be able to easily solve this riddle that we couldn't. Yeah, Kyrie is sharp. And my wife, hands off. She might find a more interesting take on it if she comes in without any confusing biases. Biases. Is it biases or biases? I really... Can we get an opinion on this? Does anyone have a dictionary here? I see tons of books in the background. Is one of them a dictionary?
Nope. Grimoires only.
Nuts. That's right. Kyrie-san, would you mind giving us your honest opinion after reading the epitaph? I doubt you'll find it useful. You'll give me too much credit. That's fine. Just say whatever comes into your head.
You know what it is? The face she has there, it's the face from the sophisticated Pooh Bear meme. That's the face. I was like, I know this face. I've seen it.
It is that face. The hints you give are always help me out when I'm worried. Oh, so I have been helpful? It's nice to finally hear about this now. Come on. Don't I always thank you?
You two sure are close. I'm jealous.
More close than my real wife. I mean, my first wife. I mean, I'm just digging myself deeper now. And the rest of us would also love to hear these hints of yours. We're just killing time anyway, so relax, okay? Kyria was disturbed at being praised so highly for something so strange, but they had all the time in the world. Realizing that this was just a way to waste time, she decided to accept the role she'd been given. I'm sure I'll say something off the mark, but, well, I'll put forward my ideas. Indeed! What did you mean in the beginning about how it could be divided into 3 parts, roughly speaking? Oh, wow.
Well, I mean that if you look at it in the in-game interface, it's split into 3 sections on separate pages.
No, why have I never tried that before? Oh my god, have you all taken a look at this? It's got portraits of all of us. And you can... Oh, that's not a feature I want to look at. Well, I just mean what I said. I think that overall the epitaph can be divided into 3 sections. First, there are the 5 lines up until "There sleeps the key to the gold." Up until this point is the first part, which directs you to the location of the key. And then there's the part formed by the 11 lines up until the 20th twilight, which refer to the location of the Golden Land itself. Wait, she thinks this is a series of directions to get to the Golden Land? At Journey's End. How did I never put that to...
Holy fuck, I'm so stupid.
We're real dumb here. Wow. Thanks, Ryukishi07. Sorry we're too dumb for your big grand mystery. And the remaining 6 lines make up the part after the Golden Land has been reached.
They give us a heads up, please fucking read it and try to solve it, just in case we haven't been.
Okay.
I'm glad that we're on top of that already.
I don't know about on top of it. We didn't even put together that, like... Well, I mean, we mentioned that it's like a series of steps that you need to reach the goal, but I didn't think of it as literally like, these are the directions you need to reach the Golden Land.
Maybe. We'll see. I see. It can be divided into 3 parts about the key, the Golden Land, and the Golden Land's treasure.
Please take note, player. Wouldn't want to have to bang you over the head with this again. Sure wish a couple of dumbasses weren't playing this game. Can you imagine? And what if they were trying to record it and put it on the internet? Nah, you're right. It would be the worst thing possible. Who would watch it? Not gonna join in, just leaving me out to dry on my own? Okay, alright. Even if we have been able to grasp that much. There's 3 sections that refer to the key, the door, and the treasure. Nissan, don't put any more than you have to. Let Kyrie-san speak her ideas freely. Kyrie, please continue. We see it the same way you do so far. So then? I wonder about the meaning of that thing in the beginning, the beloved hometown. Normally that would refer to where grandfather lived, right? Since father went to all the trouble of telling us that it's beloved, we can imagine that it's a hometown he had strong feelings for. Did father come from Odawara?
Who's talking?
I'm just gonna guess Ava.
Okay.
Odawara is definitely where he was born, but I don't think that's the hometown he loved. I imagine all of his siblings have the same place in mind. Right, this probably isn't Odawara. Wait, who is this? This is so...
Okay, I declare it's Rosa.
Okay, cool.
Right, this probably isn't Odawara. From what I've heard, he had a very fun time as a youth.
Being made the Ushiromia family head was probably Dad's greatest bit of misfortune in life. Probably. Father didn't actually want to become the head. So where is this place? Is there a river there where sweet fish swim? Maybe there was at the time. There's been a lot of development there since then, and the sweet fish might have disappeared. It would be extremely difficult to investigate whether sweet fish were there during Grandfather's boyhood years. And there probably isn't just a single river. I believe we all gave this a thorough investigation geographically. Even went to the actual place to investigate directly, right, Eva? That was only a vacation. But the townscape had changed completely since Father's time. After all, it was caught up in that war, wasn't it? By now, even precisely locating the place Father lived is impossible. Imagine that if Father went there himself now, even he wouldn't be able to pick out the place he'd lived anymore. Well, after all, those guys have also gone through a remarkable recovery. Does the part about a Sweetfish River bring any place named clearly to mind? Well, yeah. After all, they're sweetfish, right? People say they live in rivers with clean water, so there are countless rivers that might work. Any stream Dad innocently went sweetfish fishing in was probably buried by the development later.
Be different if we had a map from before the war, or a person who knew a lot about the area was before the war, but...
Probably isn't something like that.
What do you mean?
Behold the Sweetfish River running through my hometown. You who seek the Golden Land follow its path downstream in search of the key. These two lines, there's a single blank line. Something is being presented with just these two lines. What if the next three lines continue based upon that something?
What do you mean? Something else is being presented?
I don't know. At any rate, what we can get from these two lines alone isn't something vague, like the question of what river it might be, but a clear presentation of the keyword river. Maybe that this isn't a river with water flowing down it. The Sweetfish River might be some kind of metaphor.
Metaphors? In this epitaph? In this economy?
Nah.
What sort of impressions does the word sweetfish give?
Sweet fish are like salmon. They are freshwater fish, but they go out into the ocean right after they are born. When they get big, they go back to the river to live there. And then they spawn there and end their lives there. Well, they leave their home at one point, but when they get big, they come back and lay eggs. Might be able to link that to the idea of play and prosperity.
They come back and lay what?
Egg.
Oh.
Oh? They're freshwater fish, but they can live in the ocean. I didn't know that. I figured river fish wouldn't be able to live in the sea.
And they are called sweet fish because they have a pleasant aroma. I have never eaten one, but I have heard they can be quite delicious when grilled with salt.
Man, have you noticed we get along really well when we're not trying to kill each other?
I know, right? It's almost like this whole family head thing is highly toxic.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. Anyway, this is creeping me out. Want to go back to shooting each other?
Sure. What's that, Natsuhi-san? You've never eaten salt-grilled sweet fish? They are delicious. You should try it sometime soon.
Assuming we're all alive. It's a food for commoners. Hardly appropriate for your mouth.
This is just my wild idea, but the impression I get from a sweet fish river makes me suspect a family tree. The sweet fish go out into the ocean for a time, but they return to the river where they were born to spawn, right? It reminds me of myself.
There's no way he's actually just giving the actual answer right here.
But maybe. We don't know.
Oh my god.
There's no way to know.
Maybe guiding our thoughts in the right direction, but...
You're right. By this point, I can confess that I've sometimes suspected that refers to you and Maria-chan.
I see. As you travel down the river, you'll see a village. You go down the family tree, all you'll find is Maria's name. Only her name has a... Ri, or Sato. The character father uses for village here.
Alright.
Glad to know that this was definitely relevant in the English translation, and would have made it very easy to solve.
I hope that it's not actually going to be kanji punning.
I don't think it would be. I have to imagine that if they were going to do a big budget, not like a big budget, but like a big to-do about localizing the game, they would make like the riddle solvable. Right? Like, like, okay, if there were puns, they would find a way to localize the puns in, you know? Or alter it some way. I can't imagine they would leave the big riddle unsolvable unless you speak Japanese. Which is to say, I believe this now must be a false lead, but...
But how false?
I don't know.
That's the trick of it. It's an 07th expansion game, so it'll float every theory that you can think of, and all of them will be wrong, but not 100%, and have some kernel of truth to them, but not be right. Isn't that right? But as you all know, Father doesn't like Maria, and he almost never speaks with her. And in the past, Father told me to give Maria a completely different name.
Really? Which one?
I just decided to go with Maria on my own. Father was very mad about that. Given that, it's very hard to imagine that he would reference Maria's name in his precious epitaph about who would succeed his wealth and inheritance.
Have you ever let Maria-chan read the epitaph?
Yes, of course, but she seemed to have no idea what the answer was. She didn't have a clue, and she kept going on about that same occult stuff about how it was a resurrection ceremony for the witch.
A connection between Father and Maria. Certainly, they do share that occult hobby, but they never interacted. I can't imagine that refers to Maria either.
What sticks out to me is how he went out of his way to add beloved to that first line. Like you all said just now. Father was reluctant about becoming the Ushiromiya family head. He would have fond memories for anything. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Would he have fond memories of anything connected to that? I don't think this can be Odawara, which represents the Ushiromiya head family.
Is it my beloved? Is it? I gotta wonder, is it like my beloved's hometown? The hometown of my beloved?
Wherever Beato came from? Maybe.
No, but then we think that and it just gets us back to... Well, where did she come from? I was gonna say the second mansion, but that's not right.
We don't know.
Fucking... Did she come from, like, Purgatorio or whatever? The witch realm?
But then again, that again kind of cuts against the idea that the epitaph, we think, was meant to give us everything we needed. And that if we are descending into questions about vague things like which river it could be, or which hometown, then maybe we're on the wrong path.
I don't think everything we need is contained within the epitaph. Like, I'm sure that there's information we're gathering from the story that is going to be important context for figuring it out.
In any case.
Yeah.
I believe this word, beloved, right here at the beginning, must refer to a place full of very important memories to Father.
Nah. Well, that's fine. It'd be hard to pinpoint since we don't even have a trace of a map from that time. But at any rate, there were probably several rivers with sweet fish swimming in them near Dad's hometown during his youth.
That's if we were looking for a river with water flowing down it, right? And then? Go on, Kirie-san. I don't really understand the 3 lines starting with, as you travel down it, you will see the village. It's probably linked to the 2 lines about the Sweetfish River. I imagine it's something we'd understand automatically if we knew what the Sweetfish River really was. Until we figure that out, it's probably useless to try and solve those 3 lines any further.
So we're stuck unless we know what the Sweetfish River really is. There's no guarantee it even means a literal river. Seriously. What's up with the sweetfish? Did I like to eat them? Or doesn't it have some special meaning? Is it pointless to read too deeply into it?
If you don't have both a micro and a macro perspective, your field of vision grows narrow. It might be better to be flexible and avoid thinking too deeply, focusing on an abstract image of a river where fish swim or something that can flow, up or down.
Then, the answer behind the Sweetfish River passes through the next 3 lines and makes its way to the key to the Golden Land.
If you think about it this way, I wonder if it was a mistake to split it into 3 parts. There's actually 4 parts. Go down the Sweetfish River. Find the key to the Golden Land. Journey to the Golden Land. And the treasure of the Golden Land. These are all just the seasons, the names of different seasons of an anime, aren't they?
They really are, though. Like... Truly intriguing. Well, you've gone this far. Would you mind continuing and telling us your opinion on the most central portion of the epitaph? Up to the point where we reach the Golden Land on the 10th twilight.
Oh, that one's about murders.
Well, I'm kind of hoping there was something more to it than just getting murdered.
That's the most symbolic and also the most disturbing part.
Since the word sacrifices keeps coming up, I can't help but think it has something to do with Father's occult ceremonies. How do you see it, Kirie-san?
Kirie recrossed her arms several times. peering into the paper with the epitaph copied onto it as though she was looking through it. This is very difficult. It starts with the one who obtains the key, so you probably won't be able to continue without knowing what that key means. I'll have to give up on that, but I'll take a shot at trying to solve it anyway. Just like how Sweetfish River isn't necessarily a river with water flowing down it. It's also doubtful that this key is actually something shaped like a key. Okay, just quick sidebar, since something just occurred to me in the middle of this.
Yeah?
Beatrice expects them to solve it now, over the next couple hours, which means that any locations that they might need to travel to are going to be on Rokkenjima.
If any travel is needed.
Right. I'm just throwing that out there, though. So, like, any... I'm not saying any reference to the hometown of Kinzo and Odawara is a non-starter, but if that was something that they actually needed to do to solve... It won't be something they need to do to solve the riddle. Because Beato expects them to be able to solve it in the next, 12 hours or whatever, before they all die. Like, she wouldn't put that to them unless it was solvable. Because then she's not taking a risk, and the magic needs the risk in order to work, right? Yeah. So, I imagine that it's not a bad series of thoughts, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. Anyway, sorry. I'm just by the rules of the game, any locations they need to go to will probably, or if they need to, will be on Rokkenjima. Wait, who just said the last line? Oh, right. I'm just gonna take this line from me. It might also be a code or keyword. After all this, the key isn't something to be stuck into a keyhole. It's something that selects 6 people to be sacrifices for the first twilight. In that sense, we could say for sure this key isn't being used to open the door to the Golden Land. Something there doesn't sit right with me. Supposedly the key selects people to be sacrifices, but Beato is super lax about who actually gets chosen.
Beato could be the key.
I guess? It would have to be that. Picking. I mean, that would make sense. If Beato's the one picking, then that... If Beato is the key, in this case, then that... But
then what does it mean to obtain the key?
Yeah, I mean, what would it mean to obtain that? And again, they keep hinting that, or not hinting, they keep outright stating that we're not, if we don't know what the bit before is, we're not going to know what the key is, but like, logical necessity, if the key is literally what's choosing if the key is literally what is choosing the people to be sacrificed, and Beato is playing really fast and loose with who gets sacrificed, then it's got to be Beato or something within Beato's control. Right? That makes sense, right?
Maybe.
I think it makes sense.
But what a disturbing key it is. A key that can choose 6 human sacrifices. How would a key select anything? Do you spin it like a roulette?
Like the roulette. It is Beato, isn't it? Because Kinzo kept talking about how the whole ceremony is a roulette. And Beato is the one that selects the people to get killed during the ceremony. This key indicates a certain group of 6 people. No, we should say it indicates a certain group of 6 things. This doesn't mean a literal command to offer sacrifices. For example, it could be an anagram. An anagram? A manogram? You mean like playing with letters? Yes, I've been thinking about it ever since Rosa started talking about the family tree and about how the village was part of Maria-chan's name. Again, I don't think this will be what it is, because I don't think they'd give us a riddle that was unsolvable if we didn't know the kanji for all the words, but now it's going to be stuck in my head.
Can we take a quick moment and think who were the first 6 to die each time? This time it was Kinzo and the servants.
Okay.
Who were the 6 in the previous 2 arcs?
I don't recall off the top of my head. We'd have to look that up. And I have a feeling if I look that up, that there's no way I'm not going to get spoiled on something, actually. That just occurred to me.
Can we look at the portraits and try and
Yeah. Hold on. Of course we can. Characters.
'Cause it was all the adults one time, right? The first time?
The first time... Yeah, the first time it was all of the adults, but not Natsuhi. But not Natsuhi. Correct.
Okay.
It was the first time. It was the 4 siblings. Kirie, Hideyoshi, but not Aunt Natsuhi. Second time around, who was it second time around? Didn't George live to the end of that one? Not to the end, but...
No, he lived longer, though. He died along with...
During the second one, it was a big deal. No, because in the second one, it was a big deal that he had to... No, that was the first one. Jeez, it is hard to keep all this track together, isn't it?
So the second one was the one where Rosa had the gun.
Yes, okay.
And was doing the...
So I do not think I could tell you with certainty at the moment what we can do, actually, because there's an easy way to figure this out. Save that game real quick. I hope this is far enough in.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll be rereading for a while.
It's all right. We're working on actually solving the epitaph, so people won't mind if we take a little aside here. Oh, no one's dead in here yet. Hold on. Just kidding.
Who's dead? Who's dead?
So why this first Twilight specifically is it that you're interested? Why don't you walk us through why it's that one that you're interested in first and foremost?
I need to know who dies in each one.
Okay. Again, all of the adults except for Rosa.
Because of reasons. Because the thought of the key isn't necessarily making a choice. It could be something that picks them out. Some characteristic, some commonality.
Okay.
So my first thought was, seems like everybody who... My first thought was, is it something like those who wear the one wing? And it's not, because we've had a couple each time not have it, who have died.
Yes.
But I think we should be cognizant... I think we should be cognizant of who the 6 are who die each time, and think about if there's something...
Well, in the first 2, they were almost the same. Just,
But were they? Because the first time, the 2 who were close were Ava and...
You're right. Let's go back and look at the, hold on. Let's go back and look at... October? That's when we recorded that? Holy fuck. It's been a while, huh? Okay. So the first 6 in that one were Kraus, Rudolph, Kyrie, Rosa, Shannon, and Goda.
Kind of random.
Wow, that is very random.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not have been able to remember that. What we were remembering was that all of the adults except for Natsuhi wind up dead. That's what we were conflating it with. Okay. Well, did that help clarify anything for you?
It at least points out that my initial guess was not correct, but I still think it matters.
Okay.
I still think it matters who are the first 6. I think we should think about it.
Okay. That's fair. What is it specifically the epitaph says about the first 6?
That they're chosen by the key.
Is it only the first 6 that are chosen by the key?
After the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices, it's the one line that refers specifically to the
being
key.
Chosen by the key. I wonder. I'm just going to toss this theory out there without really anything to back it just yet. But what if the key each time is one of the people there on Rokkenjima? Okay. One of the 18. And the 6 that are killed is in reference to how they feel about certain people.
Interesting.
And, like, the people that are selected are somehow rooted in that person's feelings or...
Oh...
I'm just spitballing here. I don't think that. But you're right, because that's the only one.
So let's think about. So
on the first Twilight, offer the 6 chosen by the key. After that, the key doesn't do any more choosing.
Yeah, because so that's interesting. This time, it was Kinzo and all the servants, and my speculation is that Ava. Would be that person this time. So, if that's the case, why would the servants?
Because, like, I'm thinking, like, because then the justification was like, who would that person want to have out of the way?
Because if I was right that Ava would be that person this time, you would think Kraus and Kinzo would be the top 2.
Right.
And Kraus isn't among them. The servants are. So.
Maybe it's not necessarily, like, the top 6 for that person, but like 6 people who have gotten in their way. I this again is just spitballing.
Much to think about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I do think it is very salient that the first Twilight is the only one where the sacrifices are chosen by the key.
Interestingly, the other thing that gives me pause to my theory, what if the key is Beato, I think that's not the case because a later line refers directly to first person my noble name, which we believe to be Beato's noble name for the third Twilight.
Well, so, it is explicitly Beato because she's the one leaving the notes that say praise me.
Yeah.
Remember, like she in the other ones, in the other go rounds, she specifically left a note saying praise me. So that has to refer to Beato.
So the key should be something other than her, I think.
The key should be something other than her. Is that inconsistent if it is still her?
No, I just think it makes
more sense.
It makes more sense.
That's fair. Are we hard reading the key as a person?
No.
Okay.
Because my thought was, okay, the key could be a characteristic or something they have in common.
Right.
So it could just be...
Oh, so you were thinking the key was the one-winged eagle.
So that was my first wild guess there.
Yeah,
after hearing what Kyrie floated here. So suppose that it may not be choosing, it may be something they all have in common. So it might be that this is something metaphorical that would lead us to understand one particular characteristic that would pick out the first 6.
Okay.
And that by looking at the 6 who had died each time, we might be able to reverse engineer.
What it was. Interesting.
But I don't see anything off the top of my head.
Yeah. The problem is that some of those groups just don't have... The first group in particular throws a monkey wrench into it. I can't find anything connecting them.
Yeah, the first group seems pretty random.
The second group was all the fucking adults -1. And the third one, all the servants and Kinzo. Those all seem like pretty defined-ish groups, you know?
Well, let's see.
It seems that ever since the words beloved hometown came up, Rudolph Sound, for example, has assumed that this epitaph points to some coordinates or some other geographical feature. But that might not be the case. So it's some kind of puzzle, or maybe playing with the letters.
Forgive me.
No.
That's fair. But how does one play with letters?
Oh. Oh, well, it's like sucker Mary Barrels. Well, what do you get when you take out the E's and R's? Like that. Well, you were raised well, Nazi Sans. You probably wouldn't know. I'm a fucking...
Got him. Score 1 for Rudolph.
Why was my first reaction to try it? What did I think was gonna happen? What could possibly have happened by doing that would have... You know what? That's bait.
Mary? Take out the E's and R's, huh?
You know, it's like that one comic we saw going around where Banto and Battler were just arguing over schoolyard puns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop it. It's an undignified game. Inappropriate for you. Only Nazi didn't get it and had a blank look on her face. It seemed she'd only guessed that the answer had to be something undignified. Going by Rudolph and Ava sniggers.
Natsuhine-san, it's something like this. This is just something from Maria's book of riddles, okay? There's this thing called a Tanuki notebook. It's a notebook written like a code with a lot of tas mixed in. And if you remove all the tas, then the true paragraph pops up. It's a game like that. Oh, I see.
Nazi finally realized the answer to the undignified riddle Rudolph had posed, and her face grew red as she hung her head in embarrassment. So maybe kill actually means remove in that sense, right? Rosa, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe is this Kyrie?
I can't tell.
I can't tell.
Yes, I also thought that. It's possible that the key to the Golden Land is a word with 6 characters.
Or just 6 characters. Not a word with 6, but just 6 characters. 6 characters in the game. The 6 characters... Okay, sorry, I'm done now.
In other words, the ta from the Tanuki notebook is actually 6 characters here? This is getting complicated.
Playing with the letters, is it? In Japan. It really feels like a child's game, but it's apparently a stylish form of humor among intellectuals in the English world. It's easier to imagine the father was interested in it.
But by this point, I quickly lose my ability to understand it. Up until this part, it may have been filled with mysteries, but it was extremely sequential. Sweetfish River, go down it, find the key, all of that is extremely sequential. And as a result, we can guess that we gain a 6-character key. But in that case, we now don't know what we kill the 6 characters from.
They're not just telling us that's exactly what it is, right? This is still them speculating?
No way to know.
Ugh. That's right. Where do we pull the 6 characters from? It doesn't tell us.
On the second twilight, there are those who remain. Which means that, at very least, that something has a limited number of characters. You could read it like it's telling you to continue with the remaining characters after the first 6 characters are removed. Yet we don't know what this something is. Even though it should have been shown to us at the beginning. Are we wrong even in our assumption that this is playing with lattice? Everyone crossed their arms and fell silent. Felt like they were about to reach a novel understanding they hadn't managed before, but they stumbled just one step short.
Then Hideyoshi's stomach rumbled heartily. That silence was broken by laughter.
Sorry.
No, continue. Give us the breakthrough. Come on.
Strangely enough, by spinning the gears in my head for a change, my stomach's gone completely empty. Looks like I can't stand missing breakfast. Wahaha.
Wee hee hee. Sorry, it's a cut reaction.
Natsuhi. Is there anything to eat here?
There should be at least enough set aside for breakfast. I will prepare it.
I'm also starving. How about those breads above us are the same? Still, I doubt there's enough for 18 people, much less a full 3 meals, right? Also, they're probably already dead now. It's been a while and we haven't checked on them, so, you know.
That's right. It'll be a long journey till tomorrow. Maybe we'd better take a trip back to the mansion and fish around for some canned food or something in the kitchen. There's nothing more than cracker... I forgot Natsuhi's voice.
Natsuhi, are you doing alright? You lost your accent for a moment.
There's nothing more than crackers and snacks here, but if that will be sufficient, I can get them ready for y'all.
Is that really your accent?
Don't worry about it.
Are you just putting on a performance for us? You know, you don't have to force yourself. If you'd rather not.
I've got a Kansai accent. But with this many people, there might not be any left for lunch.
That'll do for now. Would you mind getting those ready? Looked like the men had been taken over with an appetite that stopped all thought. The atmosphere grew more peaceful, and the Epitaph investigation team split up for the time being. Investigation team. Gotta find out who's committing all these murders around Rokkenjima.
What if characters' names matter? They all have Western names, some of them kind of ridiculous, like Battler. What if that matters? Wild theory, likely irrelevant, but still, thinking about it.
That's interesting, because if they have Western names, then that means that they would likely, that they're the way they're written with Roman characters would be important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But Ava kept staring at the paper the epitaph was written on like she was going to burn a hole through it. Playing around with the letters was nothing more than a theory of mine. There's a chance it's mistaken. Ava-san, don't take it too seriously, okay? Thank you. I'll just keep doing this on my own. Would you mind leaving me alone? Ava spoke coldly. Kiri didn't bother her anymore, and instead went to help Natsuhi prepare breakfast.
Nei-san, shouldn't we also help prepare breakfast?
Then you go help. I'm busy solving this.
Sorry. Then I'll help.
Good grief. How can you be like that?
Huh?
The Ushiroya family headship will be given to the person who solves this epitaph. Looks like you have given up from the beginning, as if it has nothing to do with you. But if you can solve it, there's a chance even you'll be able to receive the headship. Fine, I get it. I'm sorry we weren't spending more time solving the riddle, Ryukishi 07. I'm sorry. This is a chance to steal everything from Nii-san. Why aren't you taking such a once-in-a-lifetime chance more seriously? Rosa hung her head, unsure as to how she should answer. Too late, she regretted carelessly speaking to her sister when she was in a bad mood. If you noticed anything, say so. Though Kiryu-san and I were thinking hard, you just kept nodding your head, didn't you? Come on. Is there anything you've noticed? Come on.
Don't you think this part's strange?
Strange? What is?
It's just that this whole section's written like a journey to the Golden Land, right? You reach the Golden Land, and then you receive its treasures.
What's your point? You think there's some sort of keyword tied to those treasures?
No, not the treasures themselves. Look, in the 10th Twilight, isn't how you receive the treasures strange?
Huh? Ah.
Why does it say we'll receive the treasures once and for the last time? If we only get them once, then there's no point telling us it's the last time. And the same thing in reverse. Oh, but I'm probably splitting hairs over nothing if you think about it. This is Father we're talking about, after all.
If it is indeed a wordplay thing, then that would probably be like the first and last letters of whatever the keyword is.
He probably just said it that way to make it sound more dramatic.
Huh.
I was thinking like, what's something you receive once and for the last time? And the first thing that sprung to mind was death.
Yep.
It only happens once, but it's the last time for anything.
Right. Well, anything you receive once and only once is going to be the last time.
Anyway. Boring.
Why does microphone keep doing this?
Because we haven't adjusted the couch.
Well, alright.
Oh, what is boring?
Boring.
My. What on earth is this child grumbling about?
She's probably annoyed by all the tips you gave Battler-sama, madam.
Not really.
I really love dejected Beato.
That doesn't annoy me. On the contrary, I'm happy to see that useless battler finally reach a level where he can match me.
I'm not useless.
Haha. Did Battler-kun and I get a little too close? Perhaps this old fogey's best leave you youngins alone.
When Virgilia and Ronove giggled and cackled, Beatrice's irritation meter finally reached its limit.
Enough with everyone laughing at
That's
me.
her mechanic in the fighting game. She has an irritation meter.
Ronove, vanish for a while. Disappear.
Certainly. Then I shall rest for the time being. Later. Ronove bowed his head, still laughing, and vanished. After that, all that remained was the grumpy, irritated figure of Beatrice and Virgilia, who was coolly enjoying her tea. When you said there are no more than 18 people in this island, you actually cornered yourself.
I knew it. I did have this feeling it might be a bit too early. I suppose that was right after all, wasn't it?
If you had led him further astray first, things might have been different. But as it was, that trump card was a real waste. You ended up rousing him instead.
You know, I can still hear you talking about me. I'm just in the other room. I'm just on the John. Like, it's not like I can't hear the conversation you're having. The walls are really thin here.
Anyway, he's kind of a rube, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. Like, what is it that you see in him?
Stop it!
I don't know.
Stop it! You lie! In addition to denying the witch, Battler had possessed a second victory condition, one of explaining everything without suspecting one of the 18. It was at that point, when he had been tossed about by the two opposing goals, that his heart should have been at its weakest. However, Beatrice had used the red carelessly, proclaiming that there were no more than 18 people. Because of that, Battler had been forced to suspect one of the 18. He had finally begun to build up the resolve he needed to accept that. Battler was stubborn, but that was exactly why fissures would run all through him, like breaking china when he was struck in a fragile spot. That itself should have been his greatest weak point, but...
Did I get a little too careless after my complete victory last time?
Yes, you were too careless. The last game was a difficult one for Battler-kun. But it seems this game will become a difficult one for you.
A broken vase will never return to its original form. So, it would be more constructive to think of... Am I talking right now? Are you talking?
That's
I don't know. Anyway, it would be more constructive to think of a next move rather than regretfully picking up the pieces. However, now that Battler has figured out as much as he has, how should I plot against him?
You don't! Just let me win!
Want to give me some tips? Now it's my turn.
Don't plant your crops in the summer.
Okay.
Your troubled face is even better snack than Ronove's cookies.
Gay.
I knew it. I'm a snack.
Well, I guess they're both like... a snack. You are quite delicious.
It runs in the family?
I don't know. Family, like teacher student.
Yeah.
Oh, so does that mean that she pronounces it the same way that Maria does?
Ooh. You and Battler and even Ronove are treating me like sweets now.
I mean, there's a W right there, so you gotta. I like to think that she's now on the like she just collapsed onto the floor and is just like on the floor like. Why is everyone so mean?
Even though I'm not sweet at all.
The shameful, childlike face that she would never have shown in front of Battler. Beatrice rolled her head around on top of the table.
Teacher.
Leave them kids alone.
At least give me a hint.
Oh? What kind of hint?
If you know some really good move that'll leave Battler speechless and make him want to accept me. Because that...
It sounds like you're playing a different game. That's a different game that...
Anyway, I won't ask you to say it outright, so even if it's just a hint...
Oh, I can't. I'm on Battler-kun's side right now. So I couldn't teach you something that would give you an advantage.
Come on, don't be so stingy. Your disciple's in trouble, right?
I seem to remember you brazenly boasting that you had surpassed your teacher. Why do you keep saying ubu?
Please act...
You did not learn that from me.
Please act like an old person and give me just a bit of your crafty ideas.
What is it with Banto this go around? She's just like...
Please. It's mean if you only help Battler.
I think this is really where your characterization of Banto is starting to pay off in spades. Like, this is great.
My. You're still a spoiled child. But it's true that I may have given Battler-kun a few too many hints. It did serve as a scolding to you. Perhaps it was a little too much support for a fair game.
Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Please, teacher, at least just a hint now.
This is only a hint. Think about what it means by yourself, okay?
Yeah. I'll think about it myself, so please.
You'll do what by yourself? Can I join?
Sure, yeah, you can think about it myself with me. Anyway, please, give me one that'll leave Battler down in the dumps, teacher.
Considering how she acted like a great and mighty witch in front of Battler, the way she acted when he wasn't around was truly pathetic. Virgilia sighed at how childish Banto still was, despite all the time that had passed.
Then just a hint. Do you know of Aesop's fable, The North Wind and the Sun?
Yes, extremely no face. Of course, it's a story about how the North Wind and the Sun challenge each other to see who can steal the cloak off a traveler, right?
That's right. Have you noticed how the rest of my hair doesn't move when my head does? It's a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I figured it was an endless witch thing.
Okay. Violent, impatient methods aren't necessarily the best decisions in all cases.
You don't have to tell me that.
Apparently I do.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway, I've already reflected on the mistakes I made when I was too anxious to achieve victory.
Think well about what this means. And furthermore, there's one point that Battler seems to be misunderstanding a bit. But he isn't the only one. Do you understand the victory conditions of this game?
What else is there other than making Battler surrender?
See? You're already wrong there.
How am I wrong?
Your victory isn't making Battler-kun surrender. It's making Battler-kun accept your existence.
What's this? You want me to butter him up, begging him to accept me as a witch? How foolish. I haven't sunk that low.
That is true. Banto is making it a bit harder on herself by trying to force Battler to a position where he has to accept her, rather than trying any number of other angles to be like, hey, I'll give you a cookie. It would take at least 24 cookies. Banto growled like a dog in a bad mood. Virgilia shrugged her shoulders, snickering at her disciple, who was as short-tempered as ever.
That is my hint. For the rest you'll have to consider deeply on your own. In any event, your moves up until now will not work on Battler-kun. A significant tactical adjustment will probably be required.
I don't need you to tell me that. I don't have a clue what you mean by the North Wind and the Sun. But at any rate, I realize I'll have to alter my course. I'll introduce a scheme clever enough to surprise even you, teacher.
I'm sure you will. Oh, I look forward to it. I wonder how Battler-kun will tackle that. I wish you good luck as well.
My new scheme is needles.
So, what do they...
That's the whole scheme.
Okay. What? Okay.
We can workshop it. Wait, what?
Oh, she said, after Battler. What are we doing? Where are we going?
To the next scene, I guess.
Are you gonna give up and resign already? I guess you are that tired. Well, you just grab a futon and sleep. As my mind grew vague, I pretended to fight my drowsiness, while sinking deeper and deeper into the sofa. I scolded myself. You also dreamed about stealing the position of family head from Kraus, right? Even though my magic's given you a chance, are you already throwing it away?
That is Banto, isn't it? This Beto. Trying to appear to her like her younger self and making her think she's having a deep, meaningful conversation with herself when really it's just her manipulating her. I see you, Beto. You could say that, but this riddle is really hard. Even a wire puzzle would be better. At least in that case, you know for sure that it's solvable. In the case of this epitaph riddle, we've been given no reason to be sure of that. I might just be fighting a useless battle. Still hazy, I looked at the notebook I'd been holding the whole time. It was open to a page with the epitaph, which I must have stared at hard enough to burn holes in it on so many hundreds of nights. I lost count. That page is truly a door. On the other side lies the Golden Land, the place I've wanted to drag myself to no matter the effort, ever since I was a child. And the place I was never able to reach. Am I touching the door with both hands? With the book, no, the door right there in front of me, ready to be opened. And yet still unable to reach the other side? That's right. Your hand is already on the door. Come on, open it with all your strength. And read the characters written on the door. Open it with all my strength. Read the characters written on the door. Strain your eyes. See through to the thing beyond the epitaph written in the notebook. Beloved Hometown definitely won't betray our expectations. The only past father held dear happened during his childhood years. That's right. Then what about the Sweetfish River? There are several rivers where they swim, and there's reason to doubt that this just refers to one close to the place father lived. Take out a map and start calculating which rivers with sweetfish were closest. Things will quickly get vague, and we won't be able to narrow it down. Didn't you say it yourself? You said it didn't have to be a river with water flowing down it. The word sweetfish is too complicated, why not forget it? Think of a river. A river. Linking it with a family tree wasn't a bad idea. Try thinking about how to link a river with something else along those lines. My voice gets a little squeaky when I'm younger. It isn't a river, but where else could sweetfish swim? If we're just talking about places sweetfish can swim, then maybe the ocean has something to do with this. Didn't my husband even say that they go out into the ocean even though they're river fish? To the ocean? No. But... Huh? Did you notice? But that's just a faint memory. There's supposed to be a room for storing books in this building, right? You can investigate, you can make sure. If that's the Sweetfish River, and if the key might be a 6-character word, then could the key actually be resting in that river? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I have to search in an atlas. But even if I know that, I don't know from what I should take the 6 characters. You really don't know? Think deeply. We're pretty smart, so our ideas are solid. Don't think of it like something as massive as the riddle of the epitaph, but like a child's riddle. Men are always children, no matter how old they get. Even if fathers advance into old age, that doesn't change the fact that he's essentially a child at heart. Throw away your awe of father. Think of this like it's a worthless, infantile game with riddles. The ones Maria suddenly brought out on the boat. Riddles. Worthless, infantile. Huh. I'm sure there was... What's it? I'm sure if my memory isn't wrong that it's probably the case... No, I don't have to rely on my vague memory. I should be able to figure that out immediately by searching the library. He probably already knows the answer. Most of us is to investigate whether it's correct or not. Come on, Ava. Let's go to the library, making sure no one sees us. There, we should find a mountain of books that didn't fit in Father's study. I'm sure we'll find a book that answers our question. Quickly, this is the first and last chance we'll ever get to make our dreams come true. So, was that actually... Wait, and Ava was sleeping during that bit?
Apparently.
Interesting. So, Ava at least seems to think that it is... This will be telling. If Ava actually succeeds in this, then we'll want to go back and reread exactly the specifics of what she was doing for it, like the 6-character key and all that.
Mm-hmm. I found it interesting that she switched to thinking of the ocean and then things related to that. So it might not even be a thing metaphorically comparable to a river, but a thing metaphorically comparable to an ocean. I don't know. Anyway.
Ah! When Natsuki tried to lay down a blanket over her, Ava suddenly jumped up. Oh!
It's just gonna keep doing that.
I know.
I'm sorry. It looks like I woke you.
Ava, if you're sleepy, don't overdo it. You rest first.
Thank you. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom for a bit to wash my face.
You should take it easy and rest. You're just gonna make yourself feel worse, you know?
I told you. I'm fine. I will be right back.
After leaving only those words behind, I rapidly left the lobby. The lobby was partitioned off by a door, so as soon as I went into the corridor, they could no longer see me. The library was next to the servant room. Father always owned a vast book collection. But ever since he started becoming engrossed with his hobby, that collection grew even larger, so that the normal books suitable for normal study had been forced out as his study overflowed. This so-called library was mostly used as a storage room for those normal books. They were all thick, like complete encyclopedias for intellectuals, but that was very convenient for me now that I was investigating something.
Alright, book, tell me your secrets. No, that's not... Alright, well...
Tell me the name of God, you papery fuck.
You cannot kill me in any way that matters.
I'm not afraid of you.
Tumblr memes.
I entered softly and, just in case, I checked the room with my gun readied, making sure that there were no suspicious people there. Then I locked it from the inside. I actually wasn't thinking that the murderer might be hiding somewhere. What scared me was the thought that one of my siblings might hear what I was investigating. My heart had started racing before I realized it. I was half asleep just a moment ago, so I didn't realize how significant this thing I noticed was, but gradually I became aware. My heart started to feel like it was about to explode. I wonder if any of the other siblings have noticed this. I don't think Kraus and Rudolph will notice, but I don't know about Kyrie. She has extraordinarily good intuition, and I don't know about Rosa either. Rosa's stupid too. She always has been, incredibly so.
Achoo.
Really? I'd say she was wise enough to make you think she was stupid so that she didn't earn herself unnecessary malice. Here it is. I wonder if we'll find it in this one. Pulled the book out and flipped through the pages. So this is a Sweet Fish River. I see. This is what the Sweet Fish River means. Don't dawdle around. Research further. Yes, I understand. As you travel down it, you will see a village. By using the character... I forget how you pronounce it. Does he mean a town or something? Is that just an area of dense population, so there could be any number of those? Why have you stopped thinking? Oh, this is too much work for you? You just give up. Why don't you just hand the Yushiromi headship over to Kyrie? I don't want to. I will become the head. This is... my first and last chance. What is this village? What does it mean? Do you find one if you go down the river? In the village, look for the shore the two will tell you of. This character means shore. Get it? This character means shore, get it? It's me talking to you, but I'm not using quotation marks anymore, so it's a little confusing. I understand. Shore. Shore! Right before my eyes. The pieces that hadn't been able to understand it all began to snap into place all by themselves. I couldn't even remember to close my open mouth. My throat grew completely dry. Is it really okay for this to be the answer? Really? Really? But this isn't 6 characters at all. I'm absolutely sure this is the answer, but this doesn't reach 6 characters at all. So you stop thinking again. In that case, think of a way you could read it with 6 characters. You can't think of one, then research it. There has to be an answer. You must not doubt that. Oh, is believing in that too much for you? Well, you just cry yourself to sleep and then you can just give up and die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 6 characters. I found it. This is the key to the Golden Land. Yep. This is the key to the Golden Land. The key to our childhood dreams. The only keyhole this key can be stuck in is that place. That has to be what the offering of the sacrifices means. I'm sure you get that by now, right?
Well.
Whoa. Now, are we to take that at face value and assume that that Ava is indeed on the right track here, or is she barking up the wrong tree and convincing herself that she has it right?
Given that they didn't tell us the content of her thoughts, I have a feeling she may well be on the right track.
Okay.
Because it was very deliberately kept from us what track she was on.
True. One thought. They could still be doing that to reveal it at the end if she is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. If she winds up having some measure of success, then we'll want to... Although that does feel a little silly that he's just like, here you go. Here it is. Here you go.
And I don't think anyone has done, here you go, here it is. Because they very clearly kept from us what her chain of reasoning was and what she found.
True.
We know that she stood there and struggled with it and found something. Mm-hmm. We don't know what at all.
Well, join us next time, and we'll continue struggling on our end.
Yeah.
With the riddle.
And also in real life.
And also in real life is hard right now. I want cookies.
Me too.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.